This year, it's Rosa, but in 1983, it was Tropical Depression Octave, bringing rain into southern Arizona. At the same time, 35 years ago, the storm claimed several lives, including those of two dedicated public servants. Pat Paris has that story.
Anyone who lived through the floods of 1983 will never forget them. The rains came in torrents, 12 inches in some places. Every major river in southern Arizona experienced the highest crest on record. 14 people drowned, hundreds of houses washed away, numerous bridges collapsed. Among those who died in the storm were two DPS officers and a rescue helicopter. The pilot, 36-year-old Thomas McNeff, and paramedic, 27-year-old Richard Stratman. They went down at night in a Marana cotton field.
Because the clouds were probably all the way to the ground, they had no visible horizon. They couldn't see which way was up. Unless you're paying attention to your instruments and just relying on your senses, you can get sideways, upside down, who knows, what direction you're going. So by the looks of the skids, again, with a 70-degree angle, it looks like they just flew it straight into the ground.
DPS pilots John Fink and Denny Welsh, now retired, were there that day. In fact, Fink had worked with McNeff before being transferred to Air Rescue and Flagstaff.
Tom was a great pilot. I flew a few years with Tom. I feel bad because, again, he was my pilot, and Rick Stratman, took my place, so that should have been me. But for the grace of God go I.
Denny Welsh had spoken to the two officers not long before the crash. In fact, he was in to relieve them after they had carried out countless rescues during an excruciating 18 hours in horrific flying conditions.
I said, "You promised me you won't go out anymore." And they said, "Yep, we're done." I said, "Okay."
But when a call came in that a Catalina woman in labor had no way to reach the hospital, the pilots said they would take it. They were never heard from again.
One thing that came from the crash, there was high standards set on all the crews. And there could only be 10 hours of flight time and so many hours of set downtime where you're loading patients or doing a rescue or where the aircraft wasn't actually in motion.
Today, you'll find a DPS memorial for Thomas McNeff and Richard Stratman along I-10 in Marana, two men who undoubtedly saved numerous lives before sacrificing their own. Pat Paris, KGUN 9 on your side.